What if I told you that the history of humanity might be completely wrong? That there are impossible objects, unexplainable maps, and records that simply don't fit into the timeline we were taught? It sounds like a conspiracy theory, but what happens when even scientists can't explain certain discoveries? This leads us to an inevitable question. What else is being hidden from us? Over the years, researchers and explorers have found artifacts that challenge everything we know. From a nuclear reactor nearly 2 billion years old to a hammer embedded in a rock older than the dinosaurs, each discovery raises an even bigger mystery. Are these anomalies just misinterpretations, or clues to a lost civilization that official history ignores? In this video you'll discover some of the most intriguing and unsettling findings ever recorded. And be warned, after seeing this evidence, you might never look at the past the same way again. Are you ready to question everything you thought was true? The 500,000-year-old spark plug. In 1961, 3 rock hunters were exploring near Olancha, California, when they cracked open a geode, expecting to find crystals. But inside the rock was something far stranger, a cylindrical metallic object with a ceramic core. It looked just like a modern spark plug, but it was sealed inside a stone supposedly formed 500,000 years ago. How is that even possible? One of the discoverers, Virginia Maxey, claimed that a geologist analyzed the rock and dated it to 500,000 years old. But here's the catch: that geologist was never identified, and the artifact mysteriously disappeared. The only things left were old X-rays and sketches showing a metal coil encased in ceramic, details that closely resemble spark plugs used in modern engines. Skeptics argue that it was just an ordinary piece encased in a fast-forming concretion, rather than an ancient relic fossilized over millennia. So, is the Caso artifact proof of advanced technology long before we thought possible, or just a case of mistaken identity? The strangest part? Even among critics, no one has ever been able to prove it was a hoax. But since the object conveniently vanished, we're left with one unavoidable question. If something like this was found by accident, what else could be buried out there, waiting to be discovered? The Dropa stones. In 1938, an archaeological expedition exploring remote caves in Tibet stumbled upon something straight out of a science fiction movie: stone discs covered in enigmatic symbols. Later called the Dropa stones, these discs allegedly told the story of an alien race that crash-landed on Earth 10,000 years ago. But here's the most intriguing part. When studied, some of them appeared to have electromagnetic properties, as if they were more than just primitive carvings in stone. Reports describe a small, fragile civilization, unlike any known human group. The Dropa, as they were called, were supposedly persecuted by local tribes due to their unusual appearance. But if this story is true, where is the rest of their civilization? No skeletons, no dwellings, nothing except these mysterious discs. And even more bizarre, how did someone thousands of years ago manage to engrave such complex information in stone, with a level of precision that still baffles experts today? The Chinese government is said to have suppressed research on the discs, which only fuels more speculation. Some scholars argue they are simply ancient cultural artifacts with no extraterrestrial connection. But others believe they could be the ultimate proof that contact with beings from another world happened long before we ever imagined. If the Dropa stones are real, the big question remains: what else did this civilization leave behind, and why have we never heard more about it? The Piri-Reis map. This is the case of the Piri-Reis map, created in 1513 by an admiral of the Ottoman Empire. What makes it so strange? It contains detailed representations of Antarctica without ice, something that, officially, was only discovered centuries later. How could someone in the 16th century have access to such precise information about a continent that had not yet been explored? Some theories suggest that Piri-Reis based his work on much older maps, possibly from advanced civilizations that knew Earth's geography long before we imagined. The most intriguing detail? The topography of Antarctica shown on the map was confirmed by modern radar in 1958, revealing that the land beneath the ice is strikingly similar to what Piri-Reis had drawn. This raises an inevitable question: who mapped Antarctica before it was covered in ice? If this map is authentic, it could be a key piece in rewriting what we know about humanity's past. Was there a time when Antarctica wasn't a frozen wasteland? Who recorded this information, and why was this knowledge forgotten? If a single map can challenge official history in this way, what other secrets are still hidden, waiting to be rediscovered? Ancient fossils and metal objects. Now imagine finding fossilized human footprints next to dinosaur remains, or a metal hammer sealed inside a rock that took millions of years to form. Impossible? Well, this has actually happened. Discoveries like these challenge everything we know about human history, because, according to conventional science, they simply shouldn't exist. Skeptics argue that these cases are just geological anomalies or dating errors. But is that explanation really enough? If an object clearly made by human hands is trapped inside a rock that is hundreds of millions of years old, something about our timeline doesn't add up. Either history needs to be rewritten or someone was here long before we ever imagined. The question is, who? And what if advanced civilizations existed long before what we currently believe, only to be wiped out by global cataclysms? Could these fossils and artifacts be the last traces left behind by societies that reached an unimaginable level of technology before disappearing? If we've already stumbled upon clues like these by accident, how many more mysteries are still buried, waiting to be discovered? The 1.8 billion-year-old nuclear reactor. A 1.8 billion-year-old nuclear reactor, but no one built it. Impossible? Yet this is exactly what scientists discovered in Oklo, Gabon, a site where natural nuclear reactions are believed to have occurred continuously in the distant past. But here's the strangest part. These reactions didn't just happen. They appear to have followed principles of modern engineering. How could this be just a natural accident? The official explanation claims this phenomenon was an extremely rare geological event. But many experts question how this natural reactor could have remained stable for so long without external intervention. The uranium found there has patterns that closely resemble waste from modern nuclear reactors, raising an inevitable question. What if this site was actually an energy source used by a lost civilization? If this is true, it means that someone mastered nuclear technology billions of years before modern humanity. But who were they? How did they vanish without a trace? And perhaps the most unsettling thought, if this technology existed once, could it emerge again? And more importantly, has it already? The Voynich manuscript. An entire book written in a language no one in the world can decode. No translation, no recognizable pattern, nothing. This is the Voynich manuscript, a mysterious document filled with strange illustrations, unknown plants, and indecipherable symbols that have baffled linguists, cryptographers, and historians for centuries. It appears to contain scientific information, but about what? No one knows. And that only makes the mystery even more intriguing. The manuscript has been analyzed by experts, subjected to artificial intelligence, and compared to thousands of languages, codes, and known ciphers. Nothing matches. Some theories suggest it was written by a lost civilization. Others believe it could be a manual of hidden knowledge accessible only to those who hold the key. But what if it's something even greater? What if it's a record of a non-human intelligence trying to communicate? If this book holds a secret no one can understand, what else could be hidden within its pages? Will it remain an unsolvable enigma, or are we just waiting for the right person to decipher it? Who wrote this manuscript, and for whom? The London Hammer. Now imagine finding a hammer. Yes, a common tool, embedded in a 400-million-year-old rock. Sounds impossible? That's exactly the case of the London Hammer, an object that simply shouldn't exist in humanity's timeline. The wooden handle has fossilized, the iron head doesn't rust, and somehow this tool ended up sealed inside a stone so ancient it predates even the dinosaurs. Skeptics argue that the hammer may have been lost in more recent times and that the rock formed around it through an unknown geological process. But does that really make sense? The metal alloy of the hammerhead is extremely pure, difficult to replicate even with modern technology. If this tool was indeed forged by human hands, who made it? And in what era? If the London Hammer is authentic, it could be evidence that an advanced civilization existed long before we ever imagined. But if that's true, where are the other traces of this society? What else might be buried beneath our feet, ignored by official history? And more importantly, are we truly ready to find out? Now, I want to hear your opinion. Which of these mysteries intrigued you the most? Do you think there's a logical explanation for them, or are we facing something that completely defies our understanding? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to keep exploring topics that will make you question everything, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. There are plenty more mysteries waiting to be uncovered.